I clutch the recording studio headphones as Victoria's laughter echoes through the control room again. The metallic taste of humiliation floods my mouth as she mimics my slight southern drawl for the third time today, her voice dripping with condescension. Maybe we should get someone who actually sounds professional, you know? The other voice actors snicker, and I feel my cheeks burn with that familiar shame that's haunted me since childhood. It's a raw, scraping feeling, like sandpaper on an open wound. Every syllable she utters, a deliberate, cruel twist of the knife. Elena, honey, Mark the director says, his voice tinny through the headphones, trying for placating but landing somewhere near pity. Let's just take it from the top of page 3. The city sleeps, but my heart is a restless storm. I take a shaky breath, the air in the soundproof booth suddenly feeling thick and suffocating. Outside the glass, Victoria is still smirking, leaning back in her chair with an air of bored superiority. Her perfectly styled blonde hair catches the studio lights, making her look like some kind of vengeful angel. The memory of her earlier comments? Is that how they speak where you're from, darling? And honestly, it's like we're in some backwoods play. Stings as freshly as if she'd just said them. The control room, usually a place of creative energy, feels like a courtroom, and I'm the one on trial for the crime of not being her. The city sleeps, I begin, my voice trembling despite my best efforts to steady it. But my heart is a restless storm. My accent, the one I've spent years trying to sand down, to neutralize, feels thicker than ever, a betraying fog in my mouth. It's the accent of my grandmother, of warm kitchens and fireflies in mason jars, but here, in this sterile, judgmental space, it's a mark of otherness, of not belonging. Victoria lets out another exaggerated sigh, loud enough to be picked up by the sensitive microphone in the control room. It's a deliberate act, a performance for the others. Mark, seriously, are we going to get through this today? Some of us have actual paying gigs to get to. Her gaze flicks to me, a dismissal so profound it's almost an art form. The implication hangs heavy in the air. My presence here is a charity case, a favor Mark is doing for someone. Certainly not based on my talent. The other actors, seasoned professionals who usually offer a word of encouragement or a kind nod, are silent. Their silence is a form of agreement, a quiet siding with the established hierarchy. Victoria is the rising star, the one with connections, the one whose father is a big-shot producer. I'm expendable. The burning in my cheeks intensifies, a heat that spreads down my neck and into my chest. I wish the floor would just open up and swallow me. Anything to escape this slow, agonizing vivisection of my confidence. All right, Elena, Mark says, his voice tighter now, the earlier attempt at kindness gone. Maybe take a 5-minute break, get some water. His eyes, when they meet mine through the glass, are apologetic but firm. It's a dismissal, a gentle ushering out. I rip the headphones off, the sudden silence in my ears almost deafening. The click of the booth door opening sounds unnaturally loud. As I step out, trying to maintain some shred of dignity, Victoria catches my eye. She mouths, "Good luck with that," her lips curved in a triumphant cat-like smile. The snickers follow me out of the room, little darts of derision in my back. I don't go for water. I walk straight past the reception desk, past the posters of successful animated features that line the hallway posters I once dreamed of having my name on. The cool air of the corridor does little to soothe the inferno inside me. Each step is heavy, laden with the weight of this latest and somehow most cutting humiliation. It's not just about the accent anymore, it's about my worth, my place in this world I've fought so hard to enter. The metallic taste in my mouth is stronger now, bitter and coppery. It's the taste of defeat, sharp and undeniable. I push open the heavy studio door and step out into the surprisingly gray afternoon, the city's noise a sudden, unwelcome assault. I can still hear her laughter, a phantom echo in my mind, a soundtrack to my failure. What am I going to do? How can I possibly face them, face her again tomorrow? The thought of it makes my stomach churn. Maybe she's right. Maybe some people just aren't meant for this. The question hangs there, a terrifying possibility. I fumble for my car keys, my hands still shaking. The city, usually a place of bustling opportunity, feels cold and indifferent. The reflections in the shop windows show a pale, strained face that I barely recognize. This can't be it. This can't be the end of my dream, can it? Crushed by a mean girl with a prettier voice and a more powerful father? The injustice of it all feels like a physical weight pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. I lean against the cool brick of the building for a moment, trying to gather myself, but the shame is a relentless tide pulling me under. The memory of their faces, Victoria's smug, the others indifferent or amused, is seared into my brain. This isn't just a bad day, it feels like a verdict. And the verdict is damning. The rain pounds against my windshield as I speed away from the studio, tears blurring my vision. Each drop that splatters and streaks across the glass feels like another of Victoria's barbs, another public ridicule. Victoria's final words replay in my mind. Some people just aren't meant for this industry, Elena. The words twist in my gut, a venomous echo of every doubt I've ever had about myself. I grip the steering wheel, my knuckles white, trying to outrun the shame, the anger, the crushing weight of her disdain. The city lights smear into abstract paintings of despair. I shouldn't be driving like this, so upset, so unfocused, but the need to escape, to put miles between myself and that studio, that moment, is overwhelming. The slick roads make the tires hiss, a sound that seems to whisper her name, her mockery. My breath comes in ragged gasps. Why her? Why does she get to be so cruel, so effortlessly successful, while I have to fight for every scrap, every line, only to be publicly torn down? The unfairness of it all is a choking knot in my throat. I punch the radio, desperate for a distraction, but the cheerful pop song that blares out feels like a personal affront. Silence is better. Silence and the rhythmic thrum of the wipers struggling against the downpour. Then it happens. The semi-truck appears out of nowhere, a wall of steel and chrome rushing toward me, its horn a monstrous, blaring shriek that cuts through the night and my misery. There's no time to react, no time to swerve, no time for anything but a silent, horrified scream that never leaves my lips. The world explodes in a symphony of shattering glass and screeching metal. Then, darkness. A profound, absolute blackness, colder and deeper than any night. I gasp awake in my childhood bedroom, 22 again. The faded lilac walls and creaky wooden floors exactly as I remember them. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic drummer heralding an impossible return. The scent of old books and the lemon polish Mom always used hangs faintly in the air, smells I haven't encountered in years. Disoriented, I sit bolt upright, my sheets tangled around my legs. My body feels younger, lighter. The chronic ache in my lower back from too many hours hunched over a microphone is gone. Sunlight, hazy and soft, streams through the familiar lace curtains, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. It's the same light that used to wake me for school, for Saturday morning cartoons. My gaze darts around the room, cataloging every detail. The constellation stickers still clinging to the ceiling above my bed, the chipped paint on the windowsill where I used to rest my elbows and dream, the collection of porcelain dolls on the bookshelf that always vaguely creeped me out. It's all here, untouched, unchanged. My hand flies to my neck, expecting the phantom pain of the accident, the memory of impact. There's nothing, just smooth, unblemished skin. My eyes land on the calendar tacked to my corkboard, the one with kittens playing in baskets. The date stares back at me in bold, black numerals, May 17th, 2019. 5 years. 5 years before that devastating day in the recording studio. 5 years before Victoria's final, crushing humiliation. 5 years before the rain, the truck, the darkness. My breath catches in my throat. This is impossible. A dream? A hallucination born of trauma? But the creak of the floorboards as I swing my legs out of bed is too real. The slightly musty smell of my old quilt is too familiar. The coolness of the polished wood beneath my bare feet is too solid. Impossible memories flood back, a chaotic torrent. The betrayals I didn't see coming. The missed opportunities I mourned. The agonizing, slow-motion car crash of my career, culminating in that final, soul-destroying encounter with Victoria. The sting of her words. The shame. the despair. It's all as vivid as if it happened yesterday. Yet here I am, back in a time before any of it had solidified into my grim reality. A strange sense of calm, cold, and sharp begins to settle over the frantic beating of my heart. It's the calm of a predator that has its prey in sight. I know what's coming. I know their moves. I know their weaknesses. And this time, I won't be the naive, hopeful girl stumbling through the dark. This time, I'll be the one holding the lamp. A slow smile spreads across my face. It's not a happy smile. Not yet. It's a smile of grim satisfaction, of dawning power. Victoria. She has no idea at all. The universe, in its inexplicable, brutal way, has just handed me the ultimate trump card. The humiliation, the pain, the years of struggle, they're no longer just a tragic backstory. They're a roadmap, a blueprint for revenge, and more importantly, for a different future. A future where I write the script. I walk to the window, pushing aside the lace curtain. The quiet suburban street outside is exactly as it always was, peaceful and unassuming. Mrs. Henderson is probably watering her prize-winning roses across the way. The world outside is blissfully unaware of the cataclysm that just occurred, the temporal shift that has deposited me back here. But I know. The knowledge is a heavy, precious weight in my chest. The first time, I was a victim of circumstance, of cruelty, of my own insecurities. This time, I will be the architect. I will build an empire on the ashes of my past life. And Victoria? Victoria will learn what it truly means to be unprofessional. The thought sends a shiver down my spine, not of fear, but of anticipation. The game has been reset, and I know all the cheat codes. What will I do with this second chance? Everything. I'll do everything differently. And it starts now. The old Elena is gone, shattered on a rain-slicked highway. The new Elena? She's just woken up, and she's hungry. I have never felt more alive. The terror of the accident, the disorientation of waking up in the past, it's all coalescing into a single, sharp point of focus. The familiar scent of my mother's lavender candles drifts up the stairs from the kitchen, a scent I haven't truly registered in years. It's a grounding aroma, pulling me from the impossible chaos in my head and anchoring me to this new, unbelievable reality. Mom is downstairs, probably making pancakes, humming off-key like she always did on Saturday mornings. The thought brings a lump to my throat. I'd lost her 2 years before. Before the accident that wasn't an accident yet. Another chance. Not just for my career, but for this. But that's a thought for later. Right now, there's a different fire in my belly. This time, I won't be the naive girl who trusted everyone, who believed that hard work and talent were enough. That girl died on a rainy highway. This time, I'll be ready. I'll be strategic. I'll be relentless. I spend the next 3 months transforming myself. The first call I make is to Diane Weston, the city's most expensive and most ruthless voice coach. In my previous life, I'd only dreamed of affording her, scraping by with online tutorials and community workshops. Now, knowing the financial ruin that awaited me if I didn't invest, I cash out the small college fund my grandparents had left me. It feels like a gamble, but every instinct, sharpened by years of future pain, screams that this is the right move. Diane's studio is sleek and intimidating, all chrome and sound-dampening foam. Her gaze is even more so. "Your accent," she declares after my initial reading, her voice like dry ice, "is a liability. Charming for a dinner party, perhaps, fatal for a career." I don't flinch. I've heard worse from Victoria. "Fix it," I say, my voice quiet but firm. And so began the grueling process. Voice lessons with Diane are less about gentle encouragement and more about brutal precision. She dissects every sound, every breath, every inflection. "Again!" she'd snap, her fingers drumming impatiently on the polished wood of her desk. "The vowel is too open. Close it. Think rows, not raws." The wooden floors of her practice studio become my battlefield. I repeat phrases, words, individual vowel sounds for hours until my jaw aches and my tongue feels thick. Alongside Diane, I enroll in accent reduction classes, attacking them with a fierce determination that surprises even myself. I listen to recordings of news anchors, of renowned actors, mimicking their cadences, their rhythms, until their neutral, almost invisible speech patterns become second nature. I record myself endlessly, cringing at the lingering traces of my drawl, then diving back in, relentless. The shame Victoria had weaponized now becomes my fuel. Every remembered taunt, every snicker pushes me harder. Then come the acting workshops. Not the gentle, supportive ones I'd gravitated towards before. I seek out the challenging ones, the ones taught by has-been actors with chips on their shoulders or avant-garde directors who push their students to the breaking point. I study every technique, every nuance that will make me indispensable. I learn to cry on cue, to summon rage from the depths of my soul, to embody characters so completely that Elena Chen disappears. I'm not just learning to act, I'm forging armor. My small childhood bedroom, once a sanctuary of dreams, transforms into a war room. Headshots, industry contacts I remember from the future, lists of upcoming projects. They cover the faded lilac walls. I scour online casting calls, cross-referencing them with my knowledge of which indie films will break out, which directors are on the cusp of greatness. Crimson Dreams. The name clicks into place one late night, sifting through an obscure online forum for filmmakers. In my previous life, this low-budget indie psychological thriller was Victoria's launching pad. She'd played the enigmatic, damaged lead, a role that garnered her critical acclaim and opened doors to bigger things. I remember her smug interviews talking about how she just connected with the character. I also remember hearing whispers that her father had pulled some strings to get her the audition, to ensure she was seen. This time, I won't let her have it. I find the casting call, it's almost hidden, buried on a site dedicated to truly independent cinema. The production company is tiny, unknown. Perfect. I craft my submission meticulously, choosing a monologue that showcases the exact blend of vulnerability and simmering intensity the role requires. And my voice? It's flawless, neutral, precise, every syllable perfectly formed. A testament to Diane's brutal tutelage. The audition is in a cramped, stuffy office above a laundromat. The air smells faintly of bleach and dryer sheets. The director, a young man named Leo with tired eyes and a passionate fire in his voice, looks a little surprised when I walk in. I don't look like the typical ingenue. There's a new hardness in my eyes, a focus that wasn't there before. I deliver the monologue. The words, a raw confession of a troubled mind, flow from me, imbued with all the pain and betrayal of my past life, channeled into the character. The air in the small room crackles. When I finish, there's a moment of stunned silence. Leo just stares, his pen hovering over his notepad. The casting director, a woman with kind eyes, has tears welling. Leo clears his throat. That was perfect, he breathes, the words almost a whisper. That was exactly her. Where did you come from? I offer a small, enigmatic smile. I've been around, I say, my voice smooth, betraying nothing of the 5-year detour my life has taken. As I walk out, I allow myself a genuine, triumphant grin. Across town, Victoria is probably still struggling with basic diction, relying on her daddy's money and her superficial charm. She has no idea the role she considers her birthright is already slipping through her perfectly manicured fingers. The wooden floorboards of that shabby office didn't creak. They sang the first note of my victory. The war has begun, and I've just won the first battle. The sweetness of it is intoxicating, a potent antidote to years of bitter humiliation. The phone rings at 7 a.m., jolting me from a deep, dreamless sleep. For a disoriented moment, I'm back in my cramped city apartment, the one I could barely afford, the one that always smelled faintly of my downstairs neighbor's questionable cooking. Then, the scent of Mom's lavender candles, a permanent fixture in this timeline, seeps into my awareness. I'm in my childhood bedroom. It's 2019. And the phone is ringing. I snatch it from the nightstand. Hello? My voice is still a little rough with sleep. Elena, darling, you got the part. My agent's voice, not the slick, dismissive one from my previous life, but Sarah, the eager, hungry young agent I'd found just weeks ago, the one who actually believed in me, crackles with excitement through the speaker. They want you for the lead in Crimson Dreams. The director specifically requested you. He said you were a revelation. A slow smile spreads across my face. I press my palm against the cool glass of my bedroom window, watching the sunrise paint the sky in shades of amber and rose. A new dawn, literally and figuratively. In my previous life, Victoria had snatched this role from me. Or rather, I'd never even gotten a proper audition. I'd heard through the grapevine she was cast almost immediately. A perfect fit, they'd said. Her father's connections I'd always suspected. Not this time. This time, talent, meticulously honed and strategically deployed, had won. That's fantastic news, Sarah, I manage, keeping my voice even, though inside 1,000 tiny fireworks are exploding. Thank you for letting me know. Fantastic. Elena, it's career-making. An indie darling role like this? The buzz is already starting. Leo is a genius. Everyone says so. I know. Oh, I know. I remember the glowing reviews, the festival circuit triumphs, the way Crimson Dreams became the little film that could, launching several careers. Victoria's primarily. But not anymore. 3 weeks later, I'm on set. It's a far cry from the sterile, high-tech studios I'd become accustomed to in my later, previous years. This is guerrilla filmmaking at its finest. The locations are gritty, real. The crew is small, passionate, running on caffeine and sheer willpower. I'm surrounded by the gentle hum of borrowed equipment and the sharp, exciting scent of stage makeup. It feels right. It feels earned. Leo, the director, treats me with a respect I'd rarely encountered before. He listens to my input, values my interpretation of Amelia, the complex, haunted character I'm playing. You understand her, Elena, he'd said during our first rehearsal, his tired eyes alight with discovery. It's like you've lived her. More than you know, Leo. More than you know. Victoria appears on the second day of shooting. I'd known from my memories of industry gossip that she'd initially been offered a small, almost walk-on role in Crimson Dreams by Leo, who had seen her in a college play and thought she had some potential, before her father stepped in and lobbied hard for her to get the lead. This time, with the lead already cast by me, the offer for that bit part apparently still stood. And to my surprise and amusement, she'd taken it. Probably thinking it was a way to get her foot in the door, to charm Leo, to perhaps still maneuver her way into something bigger if the lead actress didn't work out. She swaggers onto the set, all designer sunglasses and an air of put-upon boredom, clearly thinking this tiny role as coffee shop patron #2 is beneath her. She hasn't seen me yet. She's busy complaining to a harassed-looking PA about the quality of the craft services muffins. The air crackles with unspoken anticipation, at least for me. Then Leo calls for a scene rehearsal, the one where Amelia has a quiet, intense breakdown in a public space. My scene. He introduces me to the assembled extras. Everyone, this is Elena Chen, our Amelia. I watch Victoria's head snap up. Her eyes, when they find mine, widen almost comically. The half-eaten muffin in her hand stills. Her perfectly painted lips part slightly. I see the flicker of disbelief, then confusion, then a dawning, horrified recognition. Her face, usually a mask of serene confidence, begins to crumple. It's a beautiful sight. Elena? Her voice wavers, uncertainty creeping in, a delightful contrast to her usual booming arrogance. I didn't know you were, when did you become so? She trails off, gesturing vaguely at a loss for words. Probably trying to reconcile the memory of the girl whose accent she'd mocked with the poised, confident actress standing before her, the lead in her movie. I give her a small, polite smile, the kind you give to a slightly dim-witted acquaintance. Professional. I finish for her, my voice honey-smooth and utterly accent-free. The voice Diane Weston had drilled into me, the voice that now dripped with an irony only I could fully appreciate. Some of us just work harder, Victoria. Her jaw tightens. A flush creeps up her neck, a lovely shade of crimson that almost matches the film's title. For a moment, I think she might say something cutting, something cruel, just like old times. But the director is watching. The crew is watching. She's just an extra here. And I'm the star. She swallows, visibly struggling for composure. Right, she finally manages, her voice tight. Of course, hard work. The words sound like ash in her mouth. The rest of the day is a quiet exercise in triumph for me, and I imagine quiet torture for her. She has to watch me work, watch Leo praise my choices, watch the crew respond to me with respect. Her one line, "Can I get you anything else?" delivered to an actor playing a waiter, is flat and lifeless. She can't even make eye contact with me. As I leave the set that evening, the setting sun casting long shadows, I feel a lightness I haven't felt in years, not even in my first life. It's not just about the role. It's about reclaiming something that was stolen. It's about the look on Victoria's face, the burning cheeks, the metallic taste of humiliation. They're hers now. And it's only the beginning. My confidence isn't just growing, it's blooming, vibrant, and strong, nurtured by the sweet taste of this first delicious victory. She's starting to realize that the world she knew, the one that catered to her every whim, is subtly, irrevocably changing. And she has no idea why. Or who is pulling the strings. But she will. Oh, she will. Success tastes different the second time around. Sweeter, more deliberate. The Crimson Dreams premiere is everything I remembered and more. The little indie film generates a deafening buzz at Sundance, reviewers singling out my haunting, star-making performance. Offers start trickling in, then pouring. I'm launched into a tier of actresses I'd only dreamed of before, a world that had seemed impossibly distant in my previous life. But I'm not stopping there. I'm not just riding a wave, I'm charting a new course. I know exactly which projects will explode, which directors will become legends, which roles will define careers. My past life is my crystal ball. The leather chair in my new agent's office, a sleek, high-powered agency I'd only dared walk past in my previous existence, creaks as I lean forward, presenting my carefully crafted list. Michael, my agent, a man known for his sharp suits and even sharper instincts, raises a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. He's older, more established than Sarah, someone I sought out once Crimson Dreams gave me leverage. These are the films I want, I declare, sliding the paper across his gleaming mahogany desk. The wood feels cool and solid beneath my fingertips, a symbol of this new reality. He scans the list. Midnight Reverie, The Glass Palace, Echoes of Saturn. Names that to him are just whispers. Projects that haven't even been officially announced yet, some still in the earliest stages of development. Elena, he says, his voice a low rumble, fingers drumming against the polished wood, a rhythmic tap-tap-tap that underscores his skepticism. This is an ambitious list. And frankly, how could you possibly know about some of these? The Glass Palace screenplay is still under lock and key with director Villeneuve. I offer a serene, enigmatic shrug, letting mystery coat my words like a fine perfume. I have good instincts, Michael, and I do my research. These are the roles that speak to me. These are the stories I need to tell. He studies me for a long moment, his gaze intense. I meet it steadily, projecting a quiet confidence I've cultivated with the same diligence I applied to my accent. He sees the awards buzz, the critical acclaim, the sudden, inexplicable it factor I seem to possess. He doesn't need to understand how I know. He just needs to believe I do. All right, he says finally, a slow smile spreading across his face. Let's see what kind of magic we can make. Your instincts have been pretty damn good so far. Within 6 months, I've secured 3 major roles that, in my original timeline, belonged to other, more established actresses. Midnight Reverie, a sweeping historical epic, was supposed to be Anya Sharma's big Oscar bid. The Glass Palace, a gritty sci-fi noir, had Jennifer Liu's name whispered all over it. Echoes of Saturn, a quirky, heartfelt dramedy, was tailor-made for Lily Chen. No relation, but a constant source of confusion for casting directors in my past life. Now they are mine. Each casting announcement sends fresh ripples through the industry, reshaping the landscape I once knew. Trade papers buzz about Elena Chen, the meteoric new talent who seems to be everywhere. Old colleagues from my previous life, people who barely gave me the time of day, now call, eager to connect, to congratulate, to subtly angle for a coattail to ride. I'm polite, professional, but distant. I remember who was kind and who was not. Victoria watches from the sidelines. Her small part in Crimson Dreams did nothing for her. In fact, her lackluster performance was subtly noted in a few reviews as a weak point. She's still auditioning, still trying to leverage her father's dwindling influence, but the roles she's offered are smaller, less significant. The industry is a fickle beast. It chases heat, and right now, all the heat is on me. Her once bright future is dimming with each of my victories. A slow, agonizing eclipse. I hear through the grapevine, a much more reliable source now that I'm on the inside, that she's becoming difficult, frustrated, her sense of entitlement clashing with her new reality of struggle. The real satisfaction, a deep, private hum of vindication, comes when I overhear her at a wrap party for a film I'm starring in. It's a lavish affair, held in a sprawling Hollywood Hills mansion, the kind of place I used to press my nose against the gates of. I'm standing near a secluded alcove hidden by a large potted palm, taking a moment to myself amidst the swirl of industry schmoozing. Her voice, sharp with a familiar desperation I recognize from my own past, cuts through the general din. She's arguing with her manager, a portly man who looks increasingly uncomfortable. "There has to be something," Victoria hisses, her voice a low, venomous whine. She can't just appear out of nowhere and take everything. Midnight Reverie was supposed to be Anya's. Everyone knew that. How is Elena Chen getting these parts? It's not natural. Her manager mumbles something about talent and buzz. Talent? Victoria scoffs, her laugh brittle. She barely had an audition for Crimson Dreams before. Now she's the bloody queen of Hollywood? It doesn't make sense. Someone is pulling strings for her. It has to be. I allow myself a small, hidden smile. Oh, if only she knew. The strings being pulled were 5 years in the past, by a universe that decided to give me a do-over. The irony is delicious. She, who benefited so much from nepotism, now suspects others of the same, unable to conceive that someone she once dismissed so casually could achieve this on merit. I step out from behind the palm as if I've just arrived. "Victoria, darling," I say, my voice smooth as silk, all warmth and feigned surprise. "Fancy seeing you here." She jumps, her face paling when she sees me. The desperation in her eyes is quickly masked by a brittle, forced smile. "Elena, yes, quite the party." "It is, isn't it?" I say, my gaze sweeping over her. She looks tired. The expensive dress she's wearing hangs a little loosely. "Enjoying yourself?" "Trying to," she says, the words clipped. "It's a tough business, isn't it? So much competition." Her eyes flick over my shoulder, probably searching for someone more important to talk to, but there's a new, grudging awareness in her gaze. She's no longer looking at me as the hick from the sticks. She's looking at a rival, a successful one. "It can be," I agree, my smile never wavering. "But some of us are just built for it, I suppose." The echo of her own past words, twisted and turned back on her, is a private little joy. Her eyes narrow almost imperceptibly. She heard it. She recognized it. Her manager makes a hasty excuse and scurries away, clearly eager to escape the palpable tension. Victoria and I are left standing there, the ghost of our shared history and my secret knowledge, hanging between us like a shimmering, invisible curtain. Her desperation is a tangible thing now, a faint, acrid scent in the perfumed air of the party. And this, I realize, is just the overture. The main act is yet to come. My empire is growing, brick by painstakingly laid brick, and soon she'll come knocking at its gates. 2 years into my second life, Victoria makes her move. 2 years of my steady, calculated ascent and her equally steady, increasingly panicked descent. The coffee shop where we meet buzzes with afternoon chatter, the rich, comforting aroma of espresso and baked goods, attempting to mask the bitter, undeniable tension between us. It was her idea to meet, a vaguely worded text about catching up. I knew what it was really about. She's lost weight, I notice immediately. The stress of watching her career crumble, of seeing me effortlessly achieve everything she felt entitled to, is showing in the sharp angles of her face, the dark circles under her eyes that even expensive concealer can't quite hide. Her once immaculate nails are bitten down at the edges. It's a small detail, but it speaks volumes. The queen is rattled. I know what you're doing, she hisses across the small, scarred wooden table, her voice low and intense. Her manicured fingers, though nibbled, are wrapped around her untouched cappuccino cup like a lifeline. The foam on her drink is slowly dissolving, a metaphor for her fading prospects. I take a slow, deliberate sip of my latte, savoring both the warmth of the milky coffee and the simmering heat of her frustration. I'd chosen this place, a trendy but unassuming spot, far from the industry power lunch haunts. I wanted her on my turf, metaphorically speaking. Oh? I ask, my voice calm, a gentle counterpoint to her barely suppressed fury. And what is it that you think I'm doing, Victoria? You're sabotaging me, she accuses, her eyes darting around as if expecting to see my network of spies lurking behind the potted ferns. Somehow, you're always one step ahead. Every role I go for, you're already in talks. Every director I try to meet, you've just had lunch with them. It's impossible. It's like you know what I want before I even want it. Her paranoia is almost pitiable. Almost. Then I remember the recording studio, the sneer, the casual cruelty. No, not pitiable, just predictable. I just work harder than you, Victoria, I say, echoing my line from the Crimson Dreams set. It's becoming a rather satisfying refrain. Always have. While you were relying on your father's name, I was honing my craft. While you were partying, I was in class. It's called dedication. You should try it sometime. Her laugh is hollow, desperate, a dry, rasping sound that draws a few curious glances from nearby tables. Bullshit. No one's instincts are that good. No one just knows things the way you seem to. You got the lead in Ethereal Voices, didn't you? Don't lie to me. Ah, Ethereal Voices. The animated epic. The project that, in my previous life, had been her masterpiece. The role of Princess Seraphina, the Celestial Warrior, had cemented her as a A-list voice actress, leading to lucrative endorsement deals, spin-off series, a whole new level of fame. She'd built her entire later career on that foundation. I'd known, from my future knowledge, that the casting for the English dub was about to begin. And yes, I'd already had several very promising meetings with the director. He'd been captivated by my demo reel, particularly the range and precision I now possessed. The familiar weight of satisfaction settles in my chest, warm and comforting as I watch her unravel. This is the woman who'd mocked my accent until I wanted to disappear. This is the woman who'd casually stolen opportunities that could have changed my life. This is the woman who'd crushed my dreams with a smirk and a condescending remark. Now she's the one drowning in a sea of her own making, while I float above, seemingly untouchable, buoyed by a secret she can't even begin to comprehend. Actually, I say, my voice perfectly even. The contracts for Ethereal Voices aren't signed yet. It's a very competitive role. I let a beat of silence hang in the air, enjoying the flicker of desperate hope that ignites in her eyes. False hope. The best kind. I have a proposition, she continues, leaning forward, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. The desperation in her eyes is intoxicating, a heady perfume of her impending defeat. There's that project, Ethereal Voices. It's going to be huge, the next global phenomenon, and I know you want in on the dubbing contract. You'd be perfect for Seraphina, of course. A flicker of the old arrogance, quickly suppressed. But I can help you. I still have connections. My father knows the head of the U.S. distribution company. I almost laugh out loud. It's too perfect. She's dangling Ethereal Voices in front of me as bait, the very project that defined her success in the other timeline. The irony is so thick, I could spread it on toast. She thinks she's offering me a lifeline into her world, a chance to ride her coattails, however tattered they've become. I can get us both in, she presses on, misinterpreting my silence as consideration. We could pitch ourselves as a package deal. You for Seraphina, obviously, and me for Lyra, her trusted advisor. It's a strong supporting role. We split the profits from any joint endorsements. We could rebuild both our careers together, like old times. Old times? There were no old times for us, not like that. There was only her reign and my suffering. She's rewriting history to suit her current desperate needs. The audacity is breathtaking. She's asking me to help her climb back to the top using the very project that made her famous before, completely oblivious to the fact that I am the reason she isn't already cast. I let my gaze drift towards the window, feigning contemplation. The afternoon sun casts long shadows across the street. She's offering me the keys to a kingdom that, in another life, was hers by default. But this time, I'm not just a visitor. I'm the conquering queen, and she doesn't even realize she's kneeling. This isn't just about tables turning. This is about dismantling her entire world, piece by piece, using her own ambitions as the wrecking ball. The proposition isn't just a lifeline for her, it's the rope she'll hang herself with. And I'm about to hand it to her. What will she do when she realizes she's the one caught in the snare? The anticipation is almost unbearable. I pretend to consider her offer, letting the silence stretch between us, while steam rises from our forgotten drinks, swirling like the unspoken manipulations in the air. The coffee shop's background noise, the clatter of cups, the murmur of conversations, the hiss of the espresso machine, fades as I calculate every angle, every possible outcome. Victoria thinks she's offering me something I want, a golden ticket. She doesn't realize she's willingly, eagerly, walking into a trap 5 years in the making, a trap laid with the bricks of her own past arrogance. What exactly are you proposing? I ask finally, my voice carefully neutral, betraying none of the triumphant glee bubbling inside me. I pick up my lukewarm latte, taking a slow sip, my eyes meeting hers over the rim of the cup. Her eyes brighten with a desperate, almost manic hope. False hope, the most delicious kind that I'll nurture until the perfect moment to crush it. Partner with me on ethereal voices, she says, leaning even further across the table, her voice urgent. Use your connections, your current buzz, to get us both cast. You as Serafina, it's a lead, Elena, it's perfect for you. And I'll take Lyra. It's a fantastic supporting part. We demand to be hired as a pair. With your current heat and my father's old contacts at the distribution company, they'll go for it. We split the profits from the film, any merchandise, joint interviews, rebuild both our careers together. A comeback for me, an even bigger launch for you. Think of the narrative, two rising stars united. The irony tastes sweeter than my rapidly cooling latte. She's actually asking me to help her climb back to the top, to share the spotlight, using the very project that, in another timeline, was her solo triumph. She's so blinded by her own desperation and her ingrained belief in her own indispensability that she can't see the glaring flaws in her plan, the biggest one being me. She thinks she's leveraging my success. She doesn't realize I am her failure. But this time, I hold all the cards, all the beautifully, painstakingly acquired cards. Lyra, I muse, tapping a finger against my chin as if genuinely considering it. She's a good character, loyal, steadfast. And in the original script, I vaguely remembered, utterly overshadowed by Serafina, eventually fading into the background as the princess took center stage. Perfect. Exactly, Victoria says, a relieved smile starting to form on her lips. It's a win-win, Elena. What do you say? She's practically bouncing in her seat now, the image of a drowning woman who thinks she's just spotted a rescue ship. I'll need to think about it, I say, my expression thoughtful, unreadable. I slowly stand, my chair scraping slightly against the worn tile floor, the sound unnaturally loud in the bubble of tension around our table. It's a big decision. Give me a week. Her face falls slightly at the delay, but the hope is still there, clinging desperately. A week? Okay. Yes. Take your time, but Elena, this could be it for both of us. I understand, I say, offering a small, non-committal nod. As I walk away, weaving through the crowded tables, I can feel her watching me, her gaze boring into my back. She's probably wondering if she's just saved her career or sealed its fate. She won't have to wonder much longer. The answer, my dear Victoria, is a resounding both. You've saved my version of your career and sealed the fate of yours. That evening, in the quiet sanctuary of my now beautifully appointed apartment, a far cry from my childhood bedroom, a testament to my success. I make 3 phone calls. The city lights twinkle outside my panoramic window like distant, approving stars. The first call is to Kenji Tanaka, the visionary director of Ethereal Voices. He's based in Tokyo, a creative genius whose work I've admired even before my rebirth. Kenji-san, I say, my voice warm and respectful. Elena Chen calling. About Serafina, I've had some further thoughts, and a rather interesting proposal has come my way that I think could actually strengthen the project, from a PR perspective at least. I had helped Kenji's last animated short film find crucial North American distribution through a contact Michael, my agent, had. It was a small indie project that had been struggling. Kenji owed me a favor, a significant one. He listens intently as I outline a carefully edited version of Victoria's proposal, framing it as a potential angle for publicity without committing to anything. He's intrigued by the rivals to collaborators narrative I subtly weave. The second call is to my publicist, a shark named Brenda who could spin straw into gold and back again. Brenda, darling, I begin. I might have a very interesting story brewing, potentially involving Victoria Ainsworth. Yes, that Victoria. I can almost hear Brenda's perfectly manicured nails clicking as she starts mentally drafting press releases. The third call is to Marcus Thorne, Victoria's former agent. She'd dropped him unceremoniously when her career started taking off in the first timeline, and then again, more recently in this timeline, when he couldn't magically produce A-list offers for her. He's still bitter, a fact I'd filed away for future use. Marcus, I say, my voice sympathetic. Elena Chen, I was wondering if you still had any of Victoria's old demo reels, particularly the ones from before she became so established. There's a historical project I'm researching. Marcus, smelling a potential scoop, or at least some schadenfreude, is only too happy to oblige, promising to dig through his archives. The quality of those early reels, if I recall, was inconsistent, particularly with accents. The snare is set. The pieces are moving into place, guided by my invisible hand. Victoria thinks she's orchestrating her comeback. She has no idea she's merely the lead actress in my meticulously crafted revenge play. And the climax is going to be spectacular. The week can't pass quickly enough. I almost pity her. Almost. The memory of her laughter in that recording booth, however, quickly dispels any such charitable notions. The tile floor of that coffee shop wasn't just where she begged. It was where she laid her head on the executioner's block, and I was sharpening the axe. A week later, I sit across from Victoria in the sleek, modern production office of Ethereal Voices. The walls are adorned with breathtaking concept art for the film's celestial landscapes, ethereal creatures, and a stunning, powerful rendering of Princess Serafina, her silver hair flowing, eyes blazing with cosmic fire. The gentle whir of the central air conditioning is a subtle soundtrack to Victoria's barely contained excitement. She's practically vibrating with nervous energy, her fingers drumming a restless tattoo against the cool, smoked glass surface of the conference table as we wait for the contracts. She's dressed impeccably, a desperate attempt to project the star quality she fears is slipping away. "Thank you," she whispers, her voice husky with emotion, reaching across the table to briefly, surprisingly, squeeze my hand. Her palm is damp. "Elena, thank you. I know we had our differences, our rivalry, but this means everything. You have no idea." "Oh, but I do, Victoria. I have a very precise 5-year-old idea." I offer a small, enigmatic nod, letting her believe in her salvation a little longer. The anticipation is a delicious coil tightening in my stomach. This is the culmination of so much planning, so much carefully suppressed anger. The production assistant, a bright-eyed young woman named Chloe, enters with a stack of pristine white papers, the crisp sound of shuffling documents filling the momentary silence. Victoria's face lights up like a child's on Christmas morning as she sees the elegant Ethereal Voices logo at the top of the first page. She practically snatches the offered pen. "There's been a small change to the casting, just finalized this morning," Chloe announces, her voice cheerfully oblivious to the bomb she's about to drop. She gestures to the documents. "Miss Chen, congratulations! You will be taking the lead role of Serafina, with additional duties as voice director for the North American release. We were so impressed with your audition and your insights into the character. And Miss Ainsworth, we're thrilled to offer you the supporting character of Echo." The blood drains from Victoria's face so quickly I genuinely worry she might faint. Her perfectly applied lipstick suddenly looks garish against her ashen skin. The pen clatters from her numb fingers onto the glass table. What? The word is a strangled gasp. Echo? That's a minor character, a sprite. She has like 10 lines. We agreed. I was supposed to be Serafina, or Lyra. We discussed Lyra. Elena, tell them. Tell them we had an agreement. Her voice is rising, cracking with disbelief and dawning horror. I lean back in my plush leather chair, the picture of calm serenity, savoring the moment I've waited 5 long, arduous years to see. Every humiliation, every snide remark, every stolen opportunity has led to this exquisite second. Actually, Victoria, I say, my voice perfectly modulated, clear and strong. The accentless voice she once mocked now, an instrument of perfect precision. I never agreed to anything regarding your casting for Serafina or even Lyra. I said I'd think about your proposition. Your proposition to partner. I pause, letting the words hang in the air, letting the full weight of her miscalculation crash down upon her. And I did think about it, I continue, my gaze unwavering, holding hers captive. I thought about it a lot. I thought about how you mocked my accent in that recording booth years ago, in front of everyone. I thought about how you told me I wasn't professional enough for this industry. I thought about all the times you and your father used your influence to step on people like me. I thought about how you tried to use me to salvage your own sinking ship. The revelation hits her like a physical blow. She actually staggers, even while sitting, gripping the table's edge for support as if the room itself is tilting. Her eyes, wide and wild, dart between me and the impassive production assistant, who is now looking deeply uncomfortable and trying to make herself invisible. You planned this, she chokes out, her voice barely a whisper. All of it, the coffee shop, me suggesting Lyra, even this meeting. Every single moment, I confirm, my voice steady, devoid of triumph, just stating a fact. From the moment I woke up in my childhood bedroom 5 years ago, given a second chance I never asked for but fully intended to utilize. Did you really think I'd forget how you humiliated me? How you laughed while I was struggling? How you treated people you deemed beneath you? I pick up my contract, the one for Serafina, the one that also names me voice director, a position that gives me authority over her performance. This isn't just about a role, Victoria. This is about consequences. Her breath comes in ragged, shallow gasps. The carefully constructed facade of Victoria Ainsworth, a confident star, has shattered, revealing the insecure, frightened person beneath. But why Echo? Why even offer me that crumb? Because, Victoria, I say, allowing a sliver of ice into my tone. Echo is a character who is constantly ignored, dismissed, her voice barely heard. I thought it was fitting. And besides, as voice director, I'll be there to guide you, to make sure you sound professional. The echo of her own condescending words is not lost on her. Her face crumples. This is just the beginning, Victoria, I add softly, sealing her fate. You wanted back in the game? Welcome to the game. My game. The air conditioning continues its gentle whir, a stark contrast to the storm raging within Victoria. The concept art of Serafina on the wall seems to look down with regal, knowing approval. The crisp paper of the contracts on the table represents more than just a film deal. It's a judgment, a reckoning 5 years in the making. And Victoria, for the first time, truly understands the meaning of defeat. Her silence is the loudest sound in the room. The glass table reflects her broken expression, a mirror to her shattered ambitions. This isn't just a lost role. It's the complete and utter dismantling of her world, orchestrated by the one person she never saw coming. 6 months later, I stand in the recording booth where this all began. The very same booth. The faint, lingering scent of industrial carpet cleaner and something vaguely metallic still hangs in the air, a ghostly reminder of that day. But today there's no humiliation, no burning cheeks, no metallic taste of shame. At least, not for me. Victoria's laughter once echoed off these soundproofed walls in mockery. Now those same walls amplify my voice, rich, clear, and confident, as I deliver the final soaring lines of Princess Serafina, The role that will not only cement my place as the industry's premier voice actress, but will also be my definitive, triumphant answer to her past cruelty. The words flow effortlessly, imbued with a power and grace I'd only dreamed of possessing in my first life. Through the control room glass, I watch Victoria. She's tucked away in the smaller, secondary booth in the corner, the one usually reserved for incidental characters or quick pickups. The same booth where she once lorded over me, delivering her lines with such casual arrogance, now serves as her tiny, soundproofed prison. She's struggling with Echo's simple dialogue. As voice director, I've been exacting. More vulnerability, Victoria, I'd said earlier, my voice calm and professional through her headphones. Echo feels unseen. Channel that. The irony was, of course, entirely deliberate. Her voice cracks on the third take of her final line, a mere whisper of agreement with Serafina. I see her shoulders tremble with the effort of holding back tears. Her face is pale, strained. The fire, the arrogance, it's all gone, replaced by a weary resignation. The crew in the control room, a different crew from that fateful day but just as professional, exchanges subtle, knowing glances. They've witnessed weeks of this dynamic. Me, the composed, authoritative lead and voice director, her, the struggling supporting player, constantly corrected, constantly reminded of her diminished status. That's a wrap on Echo, Kenji Tanaka, the director, announces from the main console, his tone polite but distant. He'd flown in for the final recording sessions. Victoria was once the kind of actress directors fawned over, his favorite for international dubs. Now she's just another struggling actress he barely notices, another name on a long cast list, and one who, he's subtly indicated to me, has been somewhat disappointing in her range. Victoria mutters a barely audible thank you into her microphone and quickly exits the booth, not making eye contact with anyone. There are no congratulatory handshakes, no warm goodbyes, just the quiet click of the booth door closing behind her. But the real victory, the one that settles deep and warm in my soul, comes later that week. The contracts for my next 3 major feature films arrive by courier. Each one, a leading role in a blockbuster sci-fi, a nuanced character piece helmed by an Oscar-winning director, and another major animated feature where I have creative consultation rights, is worth more than Victoria's entire previous career combined, back when she was at her peak. The fee for ethereal voices alone, with my bonuses for voice director and my percentage of the international box office, exceeds what she made in her best year. The numbers on the page swim before my eyes, not just as currency, but as validation, as power. When entertainment reporters, doing puff pieces on the overnight sensation Elena Chen and her meteoric rise, ask about my seemingly effortless success, my uncanny ability to pick winning projects, I simply smile. A serene, enigmatic smile that gives nothing away. Some people are just born for this industry, I say, the words a perfect, delicious echo of Victoria's past pronouncements, now imbued with an entirely different meaning. It's my private joke, a subtle nod to the universe and its strange, karmic rebalancing. Victoria tries one last desperate move. She corners me in the parking garage after our absolute final, minuscule ADR session for ethereal voices. A single word she'd flubbed. The vast, echoing concrete space is mostly empty, the fluorescent lights casting harsh, unflattering shadows across her face, making her look older, utterly defeated. The designer bag on her shoulder looks out of place with the slump of her shoulders. Elena, she begins, her voice small, breaking on the single word. It's a stark contrast to the booming, condescending tone I remember so vividly. Please. The word hangs in the sterile air between us, heavy with unshed tears and the full weight of her broken pride. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, about before, years ago. About the accent, about everything. I was younger then, stupid, arrogant. I know that now. Can't we find a way to start over? I pause at my car door, the sleek, silver sports car. Another perk of my new life cool beneath my hand. Key already in the ignition slot. I turn to face her one final time. Her eyes are pleading, searching for any flicker of forgiveness, of the old, naive Elena she might have glimpsed once. But that Elena is long gone, a ghost on a forgotten highway. Victoria, I say, my voice soft, almost gentle, but utterly implacable. I already did start over. This new life, this success, this is my fresh beginning. I give a small, almost imperceptible shrug, the motion as casual, as dismissive, as her cruelty once was. As for you, my eyes meet hers, holding no malice, no anger, just a calm, final pronouncement. Some people just aren't meant for this industry. Her face crumples. The last vestiges of hope die in her eyes. She understands there is no starting over for her, not with me. The circle is complete. The humiliation she dished out so carelessly has been returned, not in a torrent of rage, but with a quiet, devastating precision. I slide into the driver's seat, the leather cool against my skin. The engine purrs to life, a powerful, contented sound. As I pull out of the parking garage, leaving Victoria standing alone under the harsh fluorescent lights, a single figure dwarfed by the concrete expanse, I don't look back. There's nothing left to see. My victory is absolute. The final laugh, as they say, is mine. And it's silent, deep, and incredibly satisfying. The walls of that recording studio no longer hold any power over me. They are just walls. And I, Elena Chen, am finally truly free and very, very well paid.